We are going live on YouTube. Right. Welcome, welcome. Good afternoon. I'm Angela Carter. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm the program manager for Measure 110. I will be assisting our Tri-Chair Blue Valentine in facilitating today's meeting. The Oversight and Accountability Council welcomes and encourages community input. Members of the public are invited to submit public comments, or if you would like to get onto our interested parties email list, you can reach out to ohA.measure110@dhsoha.state.or.us. That email address and a lot more information about our Oversight and Accountability Council can be found on the Measure 110 OAC website. And if you would like more information or support with community engagement, please reach out to that email or to Jessica Carroll. Our Oversight and Accountability Council members have requested that OHA and other staff who are here today in the meeting space, please introduce yourself in the chat. If you would please share your role with the agency, your pronouns if you'd like, and if you are a subject matter expert, please let us know your area of expertise. All right, we'll do one more quick count in the room and see how we're doing. If I am counting correctly, with Steve joining us, I think that we are at 15. For folks who are just joining, welcome in. Good to see you today. We have 14. My apologies, miscount. All right, but I think at this point, we are okay to go ahead and take attendance. So if you would be so kind, Sydney, please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. If you could just say your name, say here when I say your name. Amy. Amy, are you there? I'll come back to Amy. Blue.
Here.
Hey, Blue. Carlos.
Here.
Thanks, Carlos. Amy, I heard you. Got you marked present. Caroline.
Here.
Hi, Caroline. Dharma.
Here.
Hey, Dharma. Eowyn.
Here.
Hi, Eowyn. Henry.
Here.
Thanks, Henry. Hubert. Oh, Hubert was here. He might have fallen off. Karen. Keisha.
Here.
Hi, Keisha. Lana. Leticia.
Here.
Hi, Leticia. Melinda. Morgan.
Yep. Here.
And Morgan. Nicole. Onisha. Ron. Oh, I see Hubert. Hi, Hubert. And then Sabrina.
I'm here.
Hi, Sabrina. Zeb.
I'm here. Thank you.
Hi, Zeb. I'll just go back to the ones who weren't here. Karen. I do not see Karen. Lana. I do not see. Melinda. I still do not see. Nicole. I do not see. Onisha. I do not see. And then Ron. I also do not see. Steve, are you here?
Yep, I'm here.
Hi, Steve. And Dr. Richardson.
Hey.
I do not see either. So we are at 13 plus Steve.
Just an FYI, Melinda's going to be able to join us at 2, and I'm still waiting for the others.
I know Ron was traveling and may have some issues with connectivity. So he may be able to join us in a bit. All right. So, if I may, I would love to pass over at this time to our tri-chair facilitator, Blue, to say hello and talk about the agenda for today.
Thank you, Angela. Good afternoon, everyone. So we have a couple things on the agenda today, and Dave is going to be talking to us about budget and financial reporting, and we are looking to make a vote around that today. And Angela is going to be discussing the RAC, or Rules Advisory something. I forget what is the C?
Committee.
Thank you. The selection for that, and we are looking for a vote around that discussion as well. And then Angela will be sharing some OHA updates. All right, so are we good as far as attendance and everything? We can start with Dave now.
As far as a vote goes, we are still a little shy of the
Okay.
number needed. I will keep an eye on folks coming into the room. Maybe if it feels appropriate, we could switch things around a little bit as we wait for folks to come in, and we could do our updates in the beginning since they don't require a vote. Is that okay with you, Blue?
Yeah, that sounds good to me. So yeah, why don't you go ahead and do the OHA updates? Thank you, Angela.
Okay, thank you, Blue. All right, so I will be relatively brief, but I did want to share with you all that we have brought on 2 fellows. They're PSU, Portland State University Hatfield Fellows, who are going to be working with us over the next about 8 months to create some documentation for our work, Measure 110 work, so that we have information that is clear and concise and can be shared with others who are interested in doing similar work, creating similar programs. And so our 2 fellows are Kendra Beck and also Alex Farrington. And I will let them introduce themselves, but I will just provide a very brief explanation of the work that they will be doing. Kendra will be writing up a sort of a memorialization of our first 18 months of project rollout, documenting the work that was done and how that work was accomplished. And then Alex will be creating a system of evaluation for the program itself. We have an evaluation system for the burns, and that is part of the work. But this is more of a global evaluation of the Measure 110 program and the the council organization and work, as well as the programs, the burn programs that we're building. So I will pass over to Kendra first, if you'd like to introduce yourself and just share a little bit with the council, and so that they can put a face to the name. Oh, we can't hear you, Kendra. I'm sorry. I know Kendra's been having some audio issues today. There, I
Anything
think,
now?
yes, we got you.
Weird. Okay, sorry. One more time. Hi, everybody. I'm Kendra Beck. I'm a PSU Hatfield Fellow. My background is in public policy and sociology, and especially in drug policy reform. I'm really excited to be here with you guys. So a lot of what I'm going to be doing is document analysis, but also hopefully some interview with a lot of you folks, just to kind of pick your brain, hear what your experience has been so far with the council, with Measure 110, all of that. We're hoping to really create an objective documentation of how it's gone for folks that are wanting to do this, in other departments, for other states that are potentially looking at similar programs. So really trying to be objective. We're really looking forward to hearing all of your thoughts. Thanks for letting me sit in. I'm excited to see more.
Thank you, Kendra. And then Alex, are you able to be on camera? Did your camera situation get worked out?
I have still not figured out my camera situation. I'm sorry. So you guys can't quite yet put a face to the name, but I promise I'm here. My name is Alex. I just recently finished a PhD at the University of Oregon in political science, and I've done some policy evaluation work in the past. And I'm really excited to be part of this project. I'm going to be doing an evaluation of Measure 110, as Angela said. And one of my goals is to focus on a sort of qualitative piece, not just a quantitative piece of that evaluation. So I'll be conducting a lot of interviews and looking at best practices, and I'm trying to pull some good recommendations out of that for other programs. I'm excited to talk to you all a little bit in the future, and very glad to be here. Thanks.
Thank you, Alex. And we'll find a way to get you connected to camera at some point so that folks can meet you face to face too. Thank you both so much for joining, and we're excited to see what you get to create. Thank you. All right, so it looks like we now have 15 folks with the people who just came into the room. So welcome to you all. And I believe I would then pass back to Blue, and you may continue. I'm done with my update. Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Okay, so I am going to pass it over to Dave to talk about our budget and fiscal reporting templates.
Great, thank you, Blue. Everyone, Dave Baden. I use he, him pronouns, Chief Financial Officer in the Oregon Health Authority. Thanks for having me in this space today and joining you all. I just, just honored to join this group and chat with you all today. You are doing great work and working so hard. So been doing a lot of work on the OHA side of helping Angela and Jessica and Steve and many others to try to do what we can to make this program successful and get money out where it needs to go, and let's save some lives. So thanks for everybody's work in this area. So happy to chat about, since I do have get to be the CFO, I get to talk about budgets and financial templates often. I always love sharing documents, especially Excel spreadsheets, in open forums. I'm going to do my best to make this as simple and concrete for the council members on what is in front of them and where we are trying to go from here for a normal natural requirement in a grant, which would be what is this being spent on? So I think just some overall goals before showing our budget, and especially the the expenditure templates. Our goal really first and foremost is simplicity. We really do recognize that it is very important to capture what is happening on spending, but it's also very important not to create so much burden on any financial template that no one wants to fill it out. So we really are trying to find a spot where we are, that we are asking all of the burn awardees to tell us what's happening, to tell us what they are spending their dollars on, to give us some examples of what the dollars are being spent on, not just, hey, we're spending $50 on personnel costs, but asking for a little narrative behind it, so that honestly the awardees can tell stories, can talk about the great work that they do and what is happening with the dollars, how they are making a difference and what they're going to. That is so important in telling the story of the work of Measure 110 and the work that's going to be happening across the state in all of these burns as now these dollars have gone out the door. So I have 3 things that I'm going to show today. I'll share my screen here in a second. The first is what will be sort of a one-time ask to all burn awardees. And this is a budget report template where we're understanding that after the OAC provided feedback after applications came in and asked for reductions or changes, all of the negotiation work that has been ongoing, there's been a lot of changes. Original budgets aren't necessarily exactly what now has been awarded in each of these grantees. So we, over the next couple of months, we're going to be asking for grantees to fill out a very simple budget template as really that baseline. Where are we starting on expenditures? Because right now we've got a lot of information. Ultimately, we really want the grantee to to fill out what it is that they're spending the money. So I'm going to share my screen, and again, I apologize up front. Hopefully everyone can see here the Excel template in a way that is not reading spreadsheets, which I know everybody loves to read spreadsheets. So we really tried to make this as simple as possible in filling out. Our goal is to send this out in September, next month. Hard for me to say September, and that's next month. In September is next month, so to get additional information. So there is some helpful guidance here about what steps grantees will need to follow in filling out information. So just for sort of an example, each burn will sort of go by county and county or burn by burn, where there are multiple burns in a county. I'm going to pick out example, but if you can go through, if you pick out Benton County, for example, and you go into organization name, the approved awardees in Benton County that pop up for picking. That should make it easier for everybody to just go in and pick their organization name. But we'll start here with example just to make this. So because everything is great and good, we're going to pick the good example here of well, it will automatically fill out. You saw sort of a whole bunch of Excel magic behind the scenes that will pull in whatever that not to exceed amount is. So in this example, that the good example organization, which is going to do just amazing work here in Oregon, got a not to exceed of 154,000. And what we are asking for, and organizations will be able to do this in a couple of ways. We pre-populated a percentage change that says, hey, here's how your original budget allocation was broken out. We also gave a drop down here. Does your original budget require revision? Some budgets were fully approved. There was enough money to fund those budgets. They won't have to make much revision. they are good to go. They will say no here and ignore sort of the calculations here, but revised amounts will come in, will match what was before. In many cases, it will be a yes, which basically what a grantee can do is either by percentage or dollar amount is say, hey, here's what our budget breaks down into 5 categories: personnel cost, program staff training costs, service and supply costs, capital outlay, and admin costs. For everyone that submitted their budgets in the beginning, these were sort of the main categories that they submitted those budgets in the beginning. Again, when we get these materials, we'll look in review to just make sure that it follows OAC guidance and what came across in approvals. If there was, concern of hey, this grantee shouldn't have a big capital project, we'll be looking for those things in a review process as we go through. So this is really a one-time ask to set up the budgets to start with. From there, and apologies, hopefully this one's not too small, is a quarterly expenditure report. So starting in December is when these will go out after we get sort of all the budget pieces nailed down, is we will go in and start asking for a quarterly expenditure report. In this case, we'll use sort of the same example of the burn name and the organization. So that good example, all this will pre-populate. If there's a revised budget, it will take the revised budget that comes in, and that will be the approved budget amount. All this will pre-populate. What it will show is the payment amount that was made. So, each awardee got a certain amount, whether it was 40% or half their not to exceed, depended on sort of the burn and the awardee. That will pre-populate and show how much has been already sent out. But what we will need is a couple of areas filled out quarterly, which basically shows how much did you spend in that current quarter. So we'll ask for, how much was spent on personnel costs, how much was spent on service and supply costs. We have some built-in things to show then how much spending was done to date. So let's say you put in 50,000 here. It'll start populating things. I'm pointing to my screen, which of course you can't see. It will start populating things back to expenditure to date and fill in, and also gives a sort of percentage of spent to date. This is more for information really for the grantee and for, I think, all of us to just give a sense of, hey, is there not a lot of spending happening, or maybe a lot of spending happening, just as sort of then a good discussion point for technical assistance. And in addition, and this is the part that I think is really important on a quarterly basis, is also talk about the expenditure amount in each of the 7 service areas, so that it's clear about not just that the money is being spent on staff or training or capital outlay, but what is it being spent on as far as the expenditures. So this should match back to what each grantee was approved on. If they were approved to do peer support and mentoring, they will show amount for current quarters. As we go quarter by quarter, this will sort of copy over and have expenditure amounts today. This hopefully will lead to sort of simplicity in filling out. The other piece that we're going to ask quarterly is a narrative explanation of spending, both in a budget category perspective and in the service category perspective. So again, this is, I think, opportunities for awardees to talk about the work that they're doing and the money that they're spending. I think there's opportunities to drop in, some pieces of data, although there's not requirements on what specific data should be in here. But it could talk about, hey, we were able to open up a new screening program. We really focused on increasing our services for this particular population. And we spent, we have a new contractor that that we're really excited about. All these things about that that allows a grantee to really explain what is going on in their spending. I think this will be important for OHA. It'll be important for the OAC to understand the narrative explanation that happens. And then finally, at addition, we will ask for sort of who this was prepared by and a sort of an authorized agent of that to certify that, hey, this is indeed right. These really are expenditures and narrative from there. So my last piece, and then happy to open it up for questions and discussion, is the time frame here. So as I mentioned, we're going to go out in September to where we'll request confirmation or revision of budget data so that we have our quarterly reporting ready to go as we get to January. We are going to do a specific technical assistance session on the budget template later this month to make sure that that all of the grantees have lots of time to ask questions and sort of toggle through it and play around with the Excel spreadsheet to make sure that it's clear what needs to happen. Asking for things going out in September, sort of reviewing this and sort of an October, November time period to where we will actually ask for the first quarter, the first sort of reporting period. We'll go out in December, due January 15th. And then start repeating that on a quarter by quarter basis. So that's broadly what the time frame of what we're looking to do today. And then again, happy to bring back the templates up, but hopefully that was clear and concise enough. And again, with the overall goals of getting good, solid information on what expenditures are happening on a quarterly basis, but not creating an overall excessive burden on awardees in filling these templates out. Again, excited to be here. Happy, thanks for letting me present today, OAC, and happy to answer questions.
Well, I have a couple questions. I am curious, who will be able to view these reports? Will the council be able to view them? Are they public information? Where do they go?
Yeah, happy to start and others can join. So I would say all of the above. So any expenditure report that we would get on any public contract is always open for public review, whether that be sort of how we end up posting these publicly on websites, but also obviously through public records request and things like that. But of course, with the council, I think it's an ongoing discussion of sort of summary of things versus, going awardee by awardee. All of that is most definitely available to the council. And I think as we get into sort of some of the first expenditure submissions of what makes the most sense and how the council wants to get this data, all that is will be available for council review.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't think we've seen anything at that level of detail so far, so that will be great. And then you had a slide up that had the different, I think it was the different service components, and this, no, it was after that, I'm sorry. Oh, the narrative categories. Could you pull that back up really quickly?
Yeah, for sure. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so yeah, a question or happy to go back through this piece either way.
Well, I'm just curious if there are some prompts for a lot of these categories, because I will just say from experience, I would have to do quarterly reports about the funding that I'm connected to, and it was not very clear to me what they were actually asking. And so, yeah, I just wanted to know if there were prompts for folks who maybe are new to this.
Yep. So we do have an instructions tab for filling this out. And I will say we probably have more work to do on the instructions. And when I say we have more work to do, is that's the purpose of some of the technical assistance sessions, is to get that exact kind of feedback of, hey, I would not understand when you say I need to do a narrative about what I did with peer supported mentoring. I'm just picking an example. What do you mean here? And so I think that we want to build out as we go through the TA sessions exactly the type of prompts and pieces that will make this as easy as possible. Because so we clearly wanted to make on this piece it to be a little open-ended, to allow for an awardee to be able to talk about the important things that are happening, and at the same time don't want to make that open-ended nature overwhelming, because if for some people seeing that open-ended question to be like, I've got to write a book report here, versus others it's, well, I'm going to put 2 sentences in. So we want to spend a little time sort of previewing this with the awardees of the best way to do that, but it is a really great call out on what are the right prompts there.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions about this? Caroline.
So I know data is one of the hardest things for, program to monitor. Is there a way to develop a cheater sheet for something for a monthly where they could just fill out little squares, and then some way where it could then be aggregated in the quarter? So then you have the whole report done with the numbers. Because I know internally here we have numerous grants, and of course every funding agent has a different I guess reporting mechanism, and sometimes you don't know which one you're reporting on. So if you're getting multiple funding, sometimes they're not going to know this is going to be for measure 10, or this is going to be maybe for a prevention activity, or this is something else, because some programs work in isolation and many of us work in collaboration. So in order to make sure our money is being utilized, sometimes we will actually be involved with the same client. They might go to multiple persons. They might go to this department, and it's going to be kind of hard unless there's some type of a cheater sheet where they could have like a monthly, something to just use monthly. I mean, I'm not really sure exactly how that would look. I'm just trying to see what's going to be easier for, especially some of our new providers who might not be used to doing reports, what we could do to just make things a little bit more simple. And I don't know what exactly how that would look. I'm just, since we're still talking in the beginning, how we could simplify things.
Yeah, thanks, Caroline. I will say that we really are in what I showed here and what will be sent out and asked for on a quarterly basis, hopefully tries to take the spirit of what you said into account, is a simplicity and information pre-populated based on what was submitted last quarter, so that there can be a focus on what changed, what did I do. So we're not asking for monthly reporting. Frankly, that would be too much burden to sort of set up a monthly reporting back and forth between all of the awardees and OHA. We are going to be asking for quarterly information. I will say, and I think your question also is a really good one of for many awardees, there are other funds around, whether through counties, there's lots of other potential resources that are available in doing this. I think that is one area that we are asking, and in sort of TA sessions with grantees, we do want to know specifically what these dollars are being spent on, and assurances that these dollars aren't used to supplant or sort of used instead of Medicaid dollars or something else that that is there. There are some requirements in the bill that we are going to be looking at as we're evaluating and sending these reports out. But again, our goal is to have this be as simple as it can be. And you are right, these are still sort of static expenditure reports that look different than what other grants or other things that your organization would have. I don't have I wish I had a great magic wand to say that poof, everything would be the same format and the same. I think for this program, we're trying to really recognize that there are some new awardees, and we want to work with them and provide technical assistance to help them through this process.
I do have another question. So the page where it was broken down by, I think, service category. I know for maybe some smaller organizations, somebody might be a peer support worker, but also do intervention planning. I think that's what it was called, and do some of the other things. And I'm just wondering how detailed you're asking people to break these costs down. Is it like by hour, by
Yeah, great question. That's a great question. It definitely is not by hour, and I really think where a particular awardee has sort of a budget or expectations to be doing sort of all 7 service areas or 5 service areas, and like Angela Carter is the head of that organization and is working in all of those areas. Well, how are you going to show Angela's time and what's important? We're not looking for a level of cost accounting. We're not looking for like Angela's back pay records to say, wait, Angela, you spent more of your time on housing services than you did on screening and comp behavioral health needs. What I think we are looking for is sort of a little bit of consistent logic. And I think that's where the technical assistance, I think with these awardees is really important. I think some places are very used to doing this and have sort of set up algorithms that can do all of this, but that's not true with every organization for sure. So, I think we want to make this clear. If Angela, as the director of this organization and is getting getting paid through Measure 110 dollars, it could be fine to say, supporting equally all of those areas. So I think there's some flexibility in how those things are shown. And I think that as we go through the technical assistance, we really want to sort of dig into that level of detail so that someone just doesn't wake up and go, well, I spent 15 minutes on the phone call about housing services, so I need to put my time there. We're not asking for that level of cost accounting detail. It really is what are the big things that you are expending to support those areas? I hope that's helpful, Blue.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Some folks in another department have to break down their time by every 15 minutes. And I just thought I might as well ask in case it is that specific. I'm glad that it's not. So if there isn't any more discussion, we can entertain a motion to either approve or not approve the fiscal reporting templates. I'd like to make a motion to approve the fiscal reporting templates for the burn.
Second. Keisha.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any
Any-
further discussion? Sorry, Blue, go ahead.
You're good. Doesn't look like it. Okay, so who is doing voting today? Sydney?
I am.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the motion to approve fiscal reporting templates for the Burns, which was seconded. Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Blue?
Yes.
Thank you. Carlos?
Yes.
Thank you. Caroline?
Yes.
Thanks, Caroline. Dharma?
Yes.
Thank you. Eowyn?
Yes.
Thank you. Henry?
Yes.
Thank you. Hubert?
Yes.
Thank you. Karen is not here. Keisha?
Yes.
Thank you. Lana is still not here. Leticia?
Yes.
Thank you. Looks like Melinda has not yet arrived either. Morgan?
Yes.
Thank you. Nicole?
Yes.
Thank you. Onisha? Onisha, are you there? I'll come back to Onisha. Ron's still not here. Sabrina?
Yes.
Thanks, Sabrina. And Zeb?
Yes.
Thank you, Zeb. Onisha, are you there? Well, that does pass with 14. So, but we don't have Onisha's, well, if so, Onisha's here, so that counts for quorum, right? She just hasn't voted.
I'm here. Yes.
There you are.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, now we're good. That vote passes. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, so I am going to pass it over to Angela for the Rules Advisory Committee discussion.
Thank you, Blue. Excuse me. I also wanted to mention that we have a couple of friends from the rules team who are joining us today as well. We have Colleen, who I know many of you, I think all of you have met Colleen before. She's worked with us through the process of making the rules temporary and then permanent last year. And we also have a new teammate joining us, Kalina. Kalina is going to be helping to coordinate our rules process as we take our current temporary changes and make them permanent. So if y'all want to say hi, please feel free, just so that folks know who you are.
Hi guys, I'm Colleen. Thank you for having me. I always feel so welcome here, and so I so appreciate all of you and love helping you guys out.
Hi all, thanks for having me. Still don't know many people here, what's going on, but really excited to be a part of this process. And Angela, thank you for inviting me and getting me connected. Thanks.
Thank you for coming. So Colleen, in her endless wisdom about the rules process, can answer any questions that may come up. But I just wanted to review. Last week, we talked about the timeline for making the current temporary changes to the Measure 110, Chapter 944 rules from the temporary to permanent. The permanency is required by December 25th of 2022. And we walked through all of the steps that we need to take to get there at the last meeting. And I did send out that PowerPoint presentation to you all. So if you would like to review that to remind yourself of the steps, that should be in your inbox. I also just wanted to talk about are momentary.
Angela, real quick. Something's going on with your volume. We cannot hear you.
Okay, how about now? We're
Yes.
good? Okay. I have some headphones that just periodically give up on life, and I apologize. they just don't want to listen anymore. I can hear you all, you can't hear me. So okay, if it happens again, just let me know. So going back to the rules, we have our Rules Advisory Committee, which is the RAC, which is the opportunity for the council to select members of the community that they believe would provide good insight into the changes that have been made. The RAC will be meeting on August 25th from 1 to 3 p.m. And we have sent out invitations to all of you with the application to show interest, and also shared it out with our interested parties list. So we will be accepting those applications to submit interest until 5 o'clock on the 9th of August. And once we receive all of those applications, we would then offer the list of names to the council to select who those members would be. Colleen has suggested that a RAC typically is between 7 and 9 people. And so likely we'll get a good number of folks who are interested in taking part. And so I wanted to walk through some options. Previously, we had a subcommittee. The council formed a subcommittee that was able to choose the RAC membership, and then also was able to review and integrate any of the RAC comments and recommendations into the rules. And so one proposal could be that the council could designate a subcommittee and delegate authority to that subcommittee to make the selection of Rules Advisory Committee members, as well as to receive the input that the RAC creates and integrate those into the current temporary rule changes. As a point of clarification, we made a few changes to the rules. This rules process that we're in now doesn't open up the entirety of Chapter 944 again. We're only opening up the sections that we made changes to. And so it would be, previously, if you may recall, we had multiple RAC meetings over 2 weeks to work with this group of folks to receive comments. Because we have a smaller number of changes that were made, the Rules Advisory Committee would be a shorter time commitment than the previous Rules Advisory Committee. But so we have the option of the council delegating authority to a set of people in a subcommittee. There is also the option of the full council reviewing. And I see Keisha's hand, so I'm going to pause and please go ahead, Keisha.
I don't know if you want to continue. I just wanted to make a motion that we create a subcommittee and delegate authority to them for the RAC members.
I second it.
Would you, if I may ask, would you like to have the subcommittee only choose the RAC members, or would you like them to also do the work of integrating the comments? We could do that, or that could be something that the council does together.
Correct it last time. I don't know if we have to restate it. But we still had to bring all the comments back to the full council for approval. So you want me to restate the motion or?
So let me talk for 1 second just to clarify. It sounds like you're interested in designating the authority to a subcommittee to choose the RAC members. And all of those members would be all of the people who have submitted interest. I would propose we would share with the full council so that everyone is aware of who has applied. Then the RAC selection committee could meet to choose the final members and bring that back to the full council. And then as far as integrating the comments, it sounds like you're interested in the full council being able to view those comments. But just to refine the motion, would you like the full council to review all of the comments and do the integration work? Or would you like that integration work to be done in subcommittee as well? Just wanted to ask the clarifying questions before the motion was made.
It seems like 2 parts, but if you need me to go to the second part now.
We can do 2-part motion, that's fine. If you want to do a motion now and then a second one later, that's totally okay. I don't mean to interrupt your process. I just wanted to make sure that all the information was out there. Sorry, Keisha.
You're all right. Yeah. So it's kind of hard. I mean, so right now the motion, I would just keep it as it is. As we review the RAC members, we can kind of see the next steps of what we need to do. Or I can.
I think your motion was perfect. We can leave it to a delegation of authority to the RAC to select, or to the committee, the subcommittee, to select the RAC members, and then we can talk about it more later if you would like. Don't need to rush it.
Okay, let me. So do I have to take the motion back and then restate it, or?
I'd like for someone to restate it just so I'm clear. I don't know if anybody else needs it, but I was gonna ask for that.
Yeah, because I mean, because it's already seconded, so I'm thinking I have to resend and remake a motion. Because I can't really change it after a seconded, right?
Yeah, if it's changed, you have to take it back.
I apologize for creating confusion.
So I rescind my first motion and want to make a new motion that we create a subcommittee and delegate authority to choose the RAC members and delegate authority for them to gather the input, summarize it, and bring it back to the council for full vote.
And I second.
Second.
Okay.
Somebody's got a lot of noise in the background.
The lively conversation happening.
I heard a couple seconds. Keisha, is your hand still up, or can I call on Henry? I just want to double check. It looks like you're full.
Yeah, I can put it down.
Okay. All right, Henry.
Yeah, thanks. I guess just out of curiosity and maybe to clarify the process, I don't remember what we did last time. Can anyone explain what we did last time? Is what Keisha's suggesting, is that fairly similar to the process we did last time?
Yeah, that is the process we did last time. The subcommittee created the RAC, selected the RAC members, but before we selected the RAC members, we brought the list back to the full council. So like if you reached out to somebody and they didn't apply, it was time for them to hurry up and apply and maybe get into the selection. And after that, the RAC selected the members, and then we did the RAC and all the input we summarized and brought for the changes we summarized and brought back to the full council for full vote and comment.
Thanks for clarifying that, Keisha. That was really helpful. I appreciate it. So is the motion to kind of follow the process that we already created last time? Is that kind of what we're saying?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, so we have a motion and a second for the council to designate authority to a subcommittee that will make the decision on the membership for the RAC. And we have a second part of that motion that this same group of council members in the subcommittee will then summarize all of the information that they receive in the RAC and bring that back to the full council to review and approve. Did I say that correctly, Keisha?
Yeah.
Okay.
Review, approve, and make suggestions.
Is there any further discussion before we do a vote? Okay. When you're ready, Sydney, please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so the motion was to create a subcommittee, delegate authority to select RAC members, gather input and summarize it and bring it back to the full council. Was seconded. Amy, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you. Blue?
Yes.
Thank you. Carlos?
Yes.
Thank you. Caroline?
Yes.
Thank you. Dharma?
Yes.
Thank you. Aowen?
Yes.
Thank you. Henry?
Yes.
Thank you. Hubert?
Yes.
Thank you. Keisha?
Yes.
Thank you. Leticia?
Yes.
Thank you. Melinda?
Yes.
Thank you. Morgan?
Yes.
Thank you. Nicole?
Yes.
Thank you. Onisha?
Yes.
Thank you. Sabrina?
I vote yes.
Thank you. And Zeb?
Yes.
Thank you. That passes with 16.
All right. Thank you all. And just so that you have the opportunity to see what is next. I'll share something with you in a moment, but I'll let Keisha go first.
I just want to know if you could quickly go over the parts of the rules that's being changed. So as we reach out to community members that they're kind of subject matter experts in those areas.
Absolutely. Yes. So let me pull up the list to make sure that I don't miss anything. All right. So we had the addition, the council added a definition for supported employment in section 0010 of the rules. So there is a definition for supported employment that now exists. Then the council added a requirement for additional services to be provided by the burns. One of those services was for burns funded after January 1st, 2024, expungement services or referrals to expungement services would be provided to facilitate housing, employment, and receipt of other recovery services. There was also the addition of assessment of the need for and provision of mobile or virtual outreach services as required in ORS 430.389, section 2DE.
Hey, Angela?
Yes.
Is there anything that you could put on the screen just to help folks follow along?
I will put this, yes, I will put this into a document so that you can see what I am talking about instead of just yammering at you. There we go. Okay, so I'll put this up on screen and here we have it. All right, so we have the definition of supported employment. This was the definition that was provided if you'd like to read through. I'll pause here for a moment so folks can take it in. And thank you for asking, Blue. Sometimes I forget that it's important to have things readable.
Oh yeah, no, Keisha had asked in the chat and it's actually helping me a lot too, so.
Thank you for asking too, Keisha.
Is everybody okay if we move on to the next part of the documents?
I'll scroll down some and leave some of it so that if folks are still reading. We also had the 2 additional pieces of expungement and mobile or virtual outreach services, H and I. I realized I'm missing the number there, but I will include that.
I do have a question on that. Do we define virtual outreach services somewhere?
I don't believe that we have defined virtual outreach. I'm going to scroll down a little bit further. Henry, please go ahead.
Yeah, when you're, I appreciate that question about virtual outreach services. So the ORS that's after that is not related to it. It's not defined. There's no definition of virtual outreach services in the ORS there.
There may be. I would have to consult that rule to know for sure.
Is it public?
I'm sure that it is. I maybe would ask Colleen, do you know what ORS 430 outlines?
Yeah, not off the top of my head, but it is public. I'm going to put it the 389 2DE in Google. I just can't copy and paste and wasn't quick enough to grab it. But yeah, anybody can put it in Google and just
doing that right now.
Yeah. Whoever's fast can drop it in the chat.
The other pieces were that section 7 of 0020 was in a different location and it got scooched so that it made more sense with the flow of the rules. And then the last piece was some mild administrative edit.
Angela, was section 7 the one that just listed the different service elements, or? I'm not sure. That was my guess. Okay.
I can't share my screen and
okay, that's okay.
look at the same time. I apologize.
Any other questions on that?
All right. If it is okay, I will take this document down for now. Is everyone finished reading? If you're not, that's totally fine. I can leave it up. Okay. I will take this document down for now. Looks like Colleen is hard at work looking for the ORS. Thank you, Colleen. And I also just briefly wanted to share a reminder of our next steps with the rules. So for that, I will put up a lovely spreadsheet. So here we are in August, and these are our August steps. Our council subcommittee, which at this time, if you would like, we could have a selection of. They would make the decision on the RAC members by the 12th. We'd have the RAC on the 25th. We'd get all of those suggestions pulled together in a concise package by the 9th. And then on the 16th of September, the council would have the opportunity to review those RAC suggestions and have a vote on the final changes to the rules. And then DOJ would be reviewing shortly after that to make sure that we have done the work correctly and to legal standards. And then in October, I've highlighted in yellow, by the way, anything that the council will be working on. In October, we have the final proposed text that we would be creating a notice for. That notice would go to the Secretary of State and also to our state legislators to review. We would post the changes in the Oregon Bulletin in November and have a period of public comment and a public hearing. And then in December, there would be another Oversight and Accountability Council review to integrate any of the comments received in the public comment period and from the public hearing. The council would do a final approval, and we'd have a signature and file those rules to be permanent by the 16th of December. That's our process over the next few months. Just wanted y'all to have the opportunity to review that again. And any questions about this process? Okay. Stop sharing for now.
Hey, Angela,
Yes.
before I could type in the search field, you dropped down that ORS reference. Can you
I'm so sorry, Colleen.
No,
Yes,
no, it's okay. Can you either read it to me or just pop it back up and I'll find it, unless Henry
Yes.
grabbed it before I did.
It is ORS 430.389, section 2, little d, big E. And I'll drop that in the chat so that
Okay, thanks.
everyone can have access to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I think I found it. And when I read the letter of the law, it says, let's see here, that so at 2DE, so E is assessment for the need, assessment of the need for and provision of mobile or virtual outreach services to, and then it's subsection I through, let's see, reach clients who are unable to access the network, increase public awareness of network services. Then it talks about harm reduction services and low barrier services. So I think if I'm reading it accurately, it's basically saying providing the same screening in subsection A, screening by certified addiction peer support wellness specialists for all of those things that we've talked about, right? Like link to appropriate services, housing, employment, all of that stuff. I think it's saying that we should be also doing that through telehealth. Yeah, you got it.
And it looks like Allison, thank you, Allison, just dropped the text into the chat. It was a race.
Thanks, Allison.
All right.
Yep.
So any questions about our process in the next few months for the rules? Okay. We'll keep you informed. If you would like to remind yourself of the process, it is in that, I think it's a PDF of the PowerPoint that we shared last week that should be available to you in your inbox. And we'll let you know how it goes. And, oh, Keisha, yes.
Sorry, I might have missed it or it's coming up, but how do people show interest in being in the subcommittee for the rec?
Well, if you would like to, we could do that selection process here now so that we have that subcommittee ready to go for next week when we are ready to select the RAC members. I would propose that anyone interested maybe put their hand up, virtual or otherwise, and we can collect names. And then that would be our subcommittee. Give folks a minute to think and put their hand up if they are interested. And I see Jessica, yes.
Just real quick, can I make the suggestion that we allow for folks who are not here to also show interest in some form?
Absolutely. So after this meeting, we will send out an email requesting you let us know if you are interested in being a part of the RAC selection subcommittee, and also the subcommittee that will consolidate all of the RAC comments to bring back to the council. So if you are not sure yet, that is okay. Just respond to the email, let us know, and we will put you on the list and find a time for everyone to meet to make those selections. And I see Amy, Melinda, and Keisha are all interested. We will take your names down and we will also send out that email. All right, thank you. I will pass now back to Blue if you have any other thoughts or comments.
I don't have anything else, but I did see that possibly Walter may drop in. And I didn't know if that was still happening today or not.
Unfortunately, Walter got called into another meeting and was not able to attend this week, but he will be able to be here next week. So he'll be here on the 10th.
Okay, so yeah, so that is all that I have too. So looks like we have a short meeting today. So I will see everybody next week. Thank you for coming.
All right. Thank you all. Take care.